Hi everyone, my name is Mariana Wilson. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this first installment of Sherlock Holmes, The Secret of the Silver Earring by Frogware. This game came out in 2004, and because it is an older game, there are some things that I would normally do for a recording that I can't do for this one. For instance, on this loading screen, my voice records okay, but after this point, if I try to speak, then anything I say, some of it may come through clearly, some of it may not come through at all. The game just doesn't seem to handle any sort of overlay, whether that's a sound overlay or a visual overlay, very well. That's why I'm not camera on. I can't overlay my webcam feed with this either. So as we go through and play the game, this is a point-and-click mystery. The voice acting is pretty good. The writing is decent. There's some plot holes and some things that I think could have been done better, but overall it is a solid little game. Shouldn't have too many glitches. Yeah, so as we move through the game, I'm just going to be playing it as I normally would. I will try to pull up any sort of document evidence or any sort of written evidence that we come across and just slowly scroll through it for you guys so that way everyone can read what I read. But I'm not going to try to read it out loud because I have already tried to record this and discovered that, yeah, my voice does not come through well during normal gameplay. So, yeah, the game plan for this, I'm just going to go through, play the game, and I would just encourage everyone, this is the comfy, cozy mystery corner, so get your favorite blanket and your favorite hot beverage of choice and enjoy the mystery. Get started.
Dear Mr. Holmes, please let me thank you one more time for your help in solving the case of the Turkish medallion. I'm sure that if the story could go public, the whole country would be as grateful as I am to you. As you may have surmised, I have a very urgent and confidential matter which requires your immediate assistance. You probably are aware that we are going to celebrate the birthday of a very important person, a member of the government. I can't mention their name in this letter for obvious reasons. The most famous and accomplished artists were selected and invited to perform. We are confident about their reputations. However, we have concerns about one performer in particular, a young Italian diva, Gallia, as there are certain rumors circulating about her. She has also provoked great acclaim in every European capital where she has appeared. We want to include her in this gala event, but have reservations about her reputation. She is, as fortune would have it, in London for another engagement. Sir Bromsby has invited her to perform during a reception to commemorate the return of his daughter to England. Due to reasons of politics and security, I can't attend the reception myself. Apart from yourself, I do not know anyone else I would be able to complete a mission of such importance. Together with this letter, I am sending 2 invitations, as I assumed your eminent colleague, Dr. Watson, would be accompanying you. A cab will arrive at 221B Baker Street at 8 p.m. to take you to Sherringford Hall. Even though I know that the prospect of attending a private concert given by perhaps the best voice in Europe is very attractive for a music lover like yourself, please allow nothing to distract you from this important mission. Yours sincerely, Lord Cavendish Smith.
How can we refuse a mission of such importance? Appearances to the contrary, I believe that the future of the nation can depend on our presence. Are you with me?
If the future of the nation depends upon our presence, Holmes, then you can count on me.
Please come right in. According to the request of Lord Cavendish Smith, during the dinner you'll be seated together.
What do you know about Sir Bromsby, Holmes?
I have never met the man, and I do not follow what is written in the newspapers. However, I can tell you that Sir Bromsby is a man of approximately 50 years old, tall in stature. He is impulsive and may be prone to violent outbursts. He is of low birth, has few intimate friends, and does not like women. He must be a very aggressive businessman who would not hesitate to go beyond the law if it served his purposes. I'd like to add that today he is going to make a very important declaration concerning his business. And you, Watson, what have you heard about him?
Well, I doubt that I would be able to give as detailed a description as you have just recited. Holmes, how can you say you do not know the man and give such an account?
Watson, you know my methods. Look at the stage and the stand near the fireplace. It is obvious that they are prepared for a very tall man. I see the hostess and servants anxiously glancing in the direction of a door from which their employer must enter. Their expressions go beyond nerves and suggest fear. Only a violent and unpredictable man can cause such anguish. Now look at the guests. The men present at this party are mainly composed of military officers and rich entrepreneurs. All of them are in their 50s and are clearly business associates, so I decided that he is of their age. Furthermore, to have risen as rapidly as he has in this society, Sir Bromsby would have to be a very ruthless and intelligent businessman. The women present reveal much. Beautiful women and young girls, all neatly but rather cheaply dressed. Watson, look more carefully. There are no chaperones. No ladies would appear in public without suitable escort, I assure you. They stare at the youngest gentleman to find a convenient cavalier and cluck like chickens at the smallest idiocy. In short, a man who would invite only business associates and women of the lower classes to the birthday party of his only child must have few friends, rather poor taste in women, and little regard for his daughter. Another item of note, but not the least, observe that group of men speaking very quickly. It's a group of reporters armed with their notebooks gathered together now that the time of the address is coming. These are not the society reporters for the Times sent to cover a gala birthday party. These are the regular reporters who had come only to gain news about the future of the Bromsby Empire. I will conclude by saying that no man, except a lunatic, would accept such an arrangement of tables and furniture. Look quickly, Watson. I hear applause. Sir Bromsby is coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me thank you all for attending this special reception. In fact, this moment is a turning point for many people.
Quick! Tell Miss Lambert not to allow anyone to leave and to send a man for the police immediately. The first handwriting is small and elegant. The second is hurried and forceful. Excuse me if I may. I am Sherlock Holmes.
What do you wish to know?
I must ask, who are you?
I am the doctor from the village near the hall.
Is he still breathing?
He died instantly.
Where is the bullet?
It's still in the body. I must obtain police authorization to extract it.
Thanks, Doctor.
Never mind.
Good day. My name is Sherlock Holmes. Would you mind if I asked several questions?
If it helps you.
Did you notice anything peculiar at the time of the shooting?
I jumped up, and then I looked in the direction of the shot. There, I saw that little flirt, Miss Bromsby. She seemed to be placing something in her handbag amid a cloud of smoke. Then she rushed to the stage. I must say, her sudden inheritance should be a fine present for her birthday.
What precisely was your relationship with the victim?
We were partners with the old scoundrel. I'm sorry, Sir Bromsby. He personally invited me. He gave me every assurance there would be plenty of fresh meat, if you take my meaning. Well, there was, but some of it was quite cold.
Were you an associate of the victim?
Yes, he seems so much bigger when he's lying down rather than standing.
Well, thank you very much.
It is nothing, dear fellow.
You do not seem the least bit alarmed.
In India, I became quite familiar with the sound of gunshots. Therefore, their sudden occurrence does not alarm me as they would a woman or certain officers in attendance.
Why didn't you intervene?
It would have been of no use. Whoever he is, the man who did this is either a perfect shot or extremely lucky, because old Bromsby had no chance at all.
Could you explain your presence at this reception?
Bromsby sent me 2 invitations for myself and the wife. My wife has fainted due to the shock of these events. I do hope her condition will last a good while longer, so that I may toss off several glasses of his excellent sherry.
Very well. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Look, what's this? That shot was dreadful, wasn't it?
It's neither the first nor probably the last I shall hear in my life. Tell me, young man, are you a barman or not? Because I'm dying from thirst.
Did you have a personal relationship with Sir...
What impertinence! I will answer questions of this nature only if they issue from my superiors or the authorities, and you, sir, are neither of those.
Well, I must leave you now.
All right, young man.
Let me introduce myself. I am Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, the infamous detective. We are heaven blessed by your presence. I am afraid I am still in shock.
Whom do I have the pleasure of addressing?
Oh, I forget myself. We haven't been properly introduced. I am Herman Grimble, advisor to the late Sir Melvyn Bromsby and minority shareholder of Bromsby Enterprises.
What sort of man was Sir Bromsby?
He was a man with strong character that at times seemed excessive. He was unyielding, but he was a good man.
Tell us what you saw.
I was behind Sir Bromsby when it all happened. I am sorry, but as such I could not see anything of interest. But I am convinced that Miss Lavinia had nothing to do with it.
So you knew Sir Bromsby well, then?
What a sad end for such a great man. We first met in India several years ago. That would have been before the birth of Miss Lavinia. We have been business associates and friends ever since that moment.
Have you any knowledge about the succession of his business interests?
I believe that Sir Bromsby had drawn up his will with his attorney and friend Horace Fowlett. When it is read, we will know more about the specifics, but I can assure you that nothing therein would threaten Bromsby Enterprises.
And where is this Mr. Fowlett?
He must have been here, because he would have most certainly been invited. Although he is hardly a person of high society. Where could he be, I wonder?
We have found Sir Bromsby's speech. There's something quite puzzling about it.
Ah, you talk about the notes that I left for him. Sir Bromsby always improvised his speeches in public as well as in business. Nevertheless, it was still necessary to remind him about particular points. So I sometimes made notes for him on a sheet of paper. Hold on, he must have made that odd notation himself. It says something about a peasant and a snake. What could it mean?
Did Sir Bromsby have any enemies?
Oh, there are always those who envy a man who is successful in business. But to say that Sir Bromsby had enemies? No, I cannot think of anyone who would desire his death.
Thank you very much.
I am at your disposal.
Please, sir, I have nothing to tell you. Everyone stands ready to accuse me of this foul deed. I have done nothing. I have only seen my father die before my very eyes on day of my majority.
This young lady tells the truth. I can attest to her every move since she first appeared in the doorway. Beg your pardon for speaking so boldly, miss.
Where were you at the moment of the shooting?
I was near the bar speaking with Colonel Patterson. Everybody started applauding and turning towards the stage. I turned to look through the crowd.
Did you notice anything in particular?
When one of the doors opened, I did see a person hidden from the other's view. A beautiful young lady stood just at the threshold. I felt somewhat ashamed for staring at her so intensely, but her considerable charms captured my full attention until the dreadful shooting took place.
Are you sure it was Miss Bromsby?
Yes, Colonel Patterson was next to me and can confirm what I saw. It seems to me that no one else was near us at that precise moment.
What is your reason for being here?
I owe it to Colonel Patterson. We met each other several days ago at his club. He kindly persuaded me to accompany him.
Sir, now will you answer my questions?
I am listening to you.
How long have you known Lieutenant Harrington?
We met at my officers' club several days ago. A brave boy, you can believe me. What could be better than to invite him to be my guest at this reception, where he could make many fair acquaintances?
Where were you precisely when the tragedy occurred?
We had been standing at the bar until the shot rang out, and I personally remained at the bar after it.
Did you happen to notice Miss Bromsby at that moment?
Impossible. My eyesight is so deucedly poor that I would not even notice if a fly fell into my whiskey.
Really?
Yes, damn shame. But I have a fine ear. I can offer much when the questions are about sounds. I can tell you that from all the applause, that old Bromsby had arrived and entered from my right. For the sound to have carried so well, the crowd must have been parted in that direction. I will add that if Lieutenant Harrington says that he saw a flea dancing with a fly in this place, you can take it on trust.
Is there anything else you recall?
Well, hold on a moment. I do have a scoop for your tabloid. I can assure you that Bromsby was killed with a Wright revolver of small caliber.
Thank you for this information, sir.
Colonel to you.
I would like to ask you several questions, if you don't mind.
If I can be of help, sir?
Are you one of the household staff?
No, I was sent by the Hartford agency to serve at the reception.
What were you doing when the tragedy happened?
I was serving those two gentlemen. As I was occupied, I saw nothing.
All right, you may take your leave.
Good evening, sir.
Were you at that precise spot at the moment of the murder?
Indeed, I was standing just there. I could easily see the door because there were so few people in front of me.
What did you do right after the shot was fired?
I left the room, as did almost everyone. I must leave now and make my excuses to Miss Lavinia for my behaviour, don't you think?
Thank you for your help.
It was not a problem.
The handle is twisted down. It smells of gunpowder. Handsome armor. This black cloth is large enough. The tracer powder is located at 1.65 meters from the surface. Black hair. This is diabolic. It is a poor copy of a uniform button. The cannon insignias are hand-drawn. This is diabolically heavy.
May I help you?
Hello? Are you aware of what has just happened?
Yes, it seems that our master has got himself killed. Scott told me that much. On his daughter's birthday. And all these nice dishes. It took me so long to prepare them. What a disaster.
How would you describe Sir Bromsby?
Well, as an employer, he was not easily satisfied, always insisting on some Indian or French dish. That old fowlet put it into Sir Bromsby's head that this Frenchman prepare better meals than the English. He would have had my master eating frogs stuffed with snails if he could.
A Frenchman?
Yes, a squint-eyed Frenchman. That must be done like this, and this must be placed like that. Well, he may well be a connoisseur of fine cuisine and service, but of everything else, Miss Lambert dared not even contradict him about the tablecloth's colour, though Bromsby hated white and insisted on blue to match the colour of the daughter's eyes. And look how he placed the tables in the ballroom. I have never seen tables arranged in such a manner.
The lid of your dustbin is quite heavy.
It makes some noise, doesn't it? At least we know when somebody closes it. I was in the cellar, and I heard the lid closing a little before that, what you said was the shot. I heard it again right after. But that surely must have been Mary, our maid.
You say it was Mary, the housemaid. How can you be sure?
The first time I saw her with my own eyes, when she came to empty the rubbish. She cautioned me not to fall asleep in the storeroom. She always has something amusing to say. The second time, I didn't see her. I only heard the lid close.
I will let you get back to your work.
All right. Good night, sir.
There is a greasy substance on the door handle. Seems to be a sauce? I need something. It is a size 7. I need something. Curious. Red greasy hair. It's a pair of moustache scissors. This room was rarely used. Everything else is in order. A textbook to study French. A calling card written in French. Very interesting. What a pleasant picture. And this lady is wearing a very nice earring. I need something. Look, what's this? There's dust. Excellent! A small caliber pistol. A Wright model. Train and ship tickets from Geneva to London. There's a greasy substance on the door handle. Seems to be a sauce. Excuse me, but would you be Mary?
What do you want, mister?
Did you hear the shot?
Of course I heard everything, but I didn't stop my work. Imagine that someone else had been killed and not my master. Oh, he would have given me a good talking to.
What's happened here, on this carpet?
An idiot from Hertford's turned over the fowl. Sir Bromsby passed by without even taking notice. It did seem his mind was elsewhere these days. Of course, it was probably because of Miss Lavinia's homecoming.
What do you think of your employer?
He could be the very devil at times, but not the worst. If you had just known my father. And then the master was so generous with our wages.
Did you go to the well during the reception?
Yes, I went there once to empty my bucket, but that was before the dreadful shooting happened.
Only once?
I told you, only the one time. I even called out to that lout Carl not to fall asleep. Oh, he spends his time drinking in the storeroom, and I often find him asleep there. Oh, but please, sir, you won't mention any of that to Miss Lambert, will you?
And the Frenchman, how could you describe him?
He's a sly one. He's also cross-eyed. Oh, but most handsome and very talkative. Ask Miss Lambert. She's quite keen on him.
Did you observe anyone pass this way after the shot was fired?
No one's come this way, not from the moment I returned after emptying my bucket and the whole while I've been cleaning. I only saw Scott, who was in the ballroom. He half opened the door to tell me the news.
Thank you, Mary.
Not to worry, sir.
Excuse me, could you answer some questions?
You're quite welcome.
Are you personally at the service of the Bromsby family?
Yes, there are 5 of us who serve in the Sherringford Hall. There are Mary and Sue, the maids, Carl, our chef, Lamb, Sir Bromsby's coachman, and myself. All the rest were brought in just for the reception.
What sort of man was Sir Bromsby? I mean, as an employer.
Troublesome and bad-tempered, but he paid well.
Where were you at the moment this tragedy occurred?
Like all the servants, I was in the ballroom. 'Twas the special orders of the old crab. In my opinion, it was done in particular to have more people there to applaud him. Canny old bird, wasn't he?
And where are the rest of the staff?
Mary is cleaning downstairs. Sue went to comfort some little goose who had been crying bitterly. It's rather odd because it seemed to me she started crying before Sir Bromsby was shot.
And the coachman?
Lamb is at the main gate. Miss Lambert gave him specific instructions to throw out any reporters and ensure they do not re-enter the hall. However, it would not be good if he finds you've been asking questions here. Tell me, will my name appear in the newspaper?
Did you know the Frenchman?
Oh, he chatters on like all the French. I do not think he came back.
Thank you for your help.
My pleasure, sir.
I beg you, please leave me. I will answer only to the authorities.
I should reveal one of my hints. Miss, this revolver, is it yours?
Oh, dear God.
Why would you require a pistol?
My father gave it to me shortly after I arrived. Dear God, what will the police make of this? I swear I did not kill my father. No.
But why would he press you to carry a pistol?
He seemed most anxious for my safety and his own. He told me that he would explain everything to me later, after the reception.
Miss, with your consent, I can investigate this matter.
Mr. Holmes, Mr. Grimble has explained to me who you are and what you do. I would be eternally grateful if you could find out who killed my father.
That's all right. I must leave you now. Be strong, miss.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Is there any news, Mr. Holmes?
According to many witnesses, Sir Bromsby seemed anxious.
Well, he really was a little worried these days, but it was most certainly due to the strains associated with the reception, ensuring a good time for his guests and the happiness of his daughter. They have not seen each other in 6 years. Perhaps he could not see her in the room.
Thank you very much.
I am at your disposal.
Blue tablecloths, yet they are shorter than the white ones used in the ballroom. It is not the time to... I asked myself, what was Watson doing while I was searching the house? He was supposed to prevent people from leaving by the back entrance.
Here now, watch your step. If you're a reporter, they'd better be a doctor nearby, because when I get done with you, you'll need one.
Look here, my good man, I am a doctor. Dr. Watson, in fact, and believe me...
Dr. Watson? Hold on. Are you the Dr. Watson who writes about all those cases solved by Sherlock Holmes? Oh, I've read all your adventures.
Who are you?
My name is Lamb, Governor. I'm Sir Bromsby's coachman. Tell me, is he really that clever, this Sherlock Holmes?
Look sharp, Lamb. Sherlock Holmes and I require your able assistance.
No doubt.
Stand firm at the private entrance and make sure no one enters or leaves until Holmes or myself returns.
My pleasure, Dr. Watson. You tell Mr. Holmes that if anybody even steps on the lawn, they'll have to deal with Lamb. And I can tell you, there are few bold enough to dare my fists.
This door is blocked.
That gate is the only way in or out of here, Dr. Watson. I've already secured the other door on orders of Miss Lambert to avoid them nosy reporters. If anyone tries to make a break through the garden, they won't get past me.
I leave you, Lamb.
Right, I'll stand guard. Yes, sir?
I leave you.
Right, I'll stand guard.
Hello. Please excuse me. I'm investigating the murder that has just happened.
Oh, yes. Well, that is good. What would you like to know?
Where were you at the moment when Sir Bromsby was killed?
I was near the stage and I saw him falling. Oh, my goodness. It was terrifying. I ran for the door, but despite all my efforts, it was blocked.
But your costume is torn. How did this happen?
When I was trying to open the door, the crowd dragged me away. I then fell to the floor. I fortunately suffered no harm, but when I arose, my beautiful costume was ripped and stained.
Well, I won't disturb you anymore.
Yes, no, fine, thanks.
Excuse me, may I speak with you?
Yeah, your servant, sir.
Are you one of the domestics employed by the hall?
No, I am the personal servant to old Satterthwaite. He is there, sitting on that bench. He seems right enough, but he refused a small drink for his health. Surely he cannot be well.
Tell me, what have you seen?
I heard the shot, then such a strange noise, and the next thing I know, all those money bags are running in a mad rush with their wives or whatever.
Thank you for your help.
My pleasure.
And you, what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for Miss Roundtree, the niece of that banker chap. She is inconsolable, all because her admirer of a mere 3 days' acquaintance had already abandoned her. Nothing unusual about that. There is no worse-tempered female than this girl. Well, maybe other than my wife. Ah.
You heard the shot?
I just left to relieve myself there at the end of the garden, you see.
Well, good.
Cheers.
This is a woman's handwriting. What do all these annotations mean?
Well, my good man, why are you here?
I am the manservant of Lieutenant Harrington. I accompanied him with the old general of the infantry or whatever. I seem to have drunk too much.
Did you hear the shot?
What shot? Oh, the shots. Great reception, isn't it?
I have to go. Are you all right?
Very good. Bye, madam.
Are you a relative of the victim?
No. In truth, I always mocked Sir Bromsby. I am upset because my friend did not arrive as promised.
As beautiful as she is cruel, apparently. Do you work here, miss?
Yes, my name is Sue. I am a maid for the hall.
Where were you when these tragic events took place?
I was serving when it happened. I ran straight for the door, just like the others. I swear his daughter must have done it. She's such a strange one.
Thank you, miss. We may talk with you again.
Oh, I hope so.
Miss Lambert, I have been looking for you. What a tragedy.
Simply dreadful. Can't believe what they're saying about Miss Lavinia.
Why did you open the gates so hastily?
I was so upset. I know now it was imprudent. I should have waited until the authorities arrived, but some of those gentlemen were so loudly insistent that I yielded.
Have you informed the police?
The village constable attended the reception. He left on his bicycle, I assume to inform the proper authorities. He told me that an inspector from Scotland Yard was already in the area on official business. I know nothing about the nature of his business, but I was told he should arrive soon.
What sort of man was your employer?
Oh, he was a great man. The people of the hall considered him to be very strict, but I think it was just his way of showing a fatherly attitude. And he dreamed of this day when Miss Lavinia would return.
You have a list of guests.
Oh, of course. I have a complete guest list for the reception. It's inside the dining room. I believe the police will have need of it. Well, nevertheless, I must first caution them to pay little heed to the notations I made regarding certain names.
Why were these notations made?
Their purpose was to note particular seating arrangements for the meal and the recital, according to specific concerns. Those individuals whom I considered to be very important were marked with a circle.
What about the other odd marks?
Louis-Philippe, Monsieur de la Musardière, suggested this method of arranging the seating. He also advised me that those guests with poor eyesight and hearing should be seated so that the acoustics and lighting in their room would favour their enjoyment of the recital. So the first category was marked with a point, the second with a cross.
What do you know about this Frenchman?
He is from a noble family, but found himself forced to seek a vocation as a head waiter. He is so inspired and keenly sensitive to the details. At first, I was afraid that Sir Bromsby would take offence with his suggestions, but he had moderated his opinions regarding French culture due to the influence of his friend Horace Fowlett.
What did he do that was so extraordinary?
His assistance was invaluable. He took such concerns with every little detail. The dishes, the tablecloths, everything. He not only declined an offer of lodging here at the hall, he also deferred his wages until the end of the reception.
And where has he gone?
He had pressing business in London. In fact, he found it necessary to visit his Harley Street physician. It seems his glasses were no longer helping with his eyesight.
You have been very kind, Miss Lambert.
You are most welcome. Oh, what a tragedy.
I have questioned everyone here. I'll go see if Holmes has finished on his end. Holmes, the gate!
I know, Watson, but it is of no real consequence. To question all these people would be a tiresome activity and would be of no value to this inquiry. Such ordinary inquiries are best left to the police.
As you like, Holmes.
Now, Watson, to put your mind at rest, I can see that you have done well in my absence by placing the formidable coachman at the gate. I also imagine you have already spoken with Miss Lambert?
Yes, and some other people too.
Hold your report until I return to Baker Street. Meanwhile, be a good man and look to the gate. I must be informed the moment any official arrives. As always, I depend on your able assistance, Watson. It is a size 7.
Holmes!
Good day, Lestrade. Your haste deserves comment. One could say that you were right to hurry here, as this case is one of great complexity and challenge. Do not worry. I think that you will manage to get back to your mother before the dinner hour.
In the name of devil, Holmes, you go too far. Do you spy on me now? How do you know I've been to my mother's?
Dear Lestrade, it is really quite simple. I must admit my mind has been stimulated by the main course, which would be this unique case. However, I sometimes enjoy a light snack of the details which surround it. Observe, we are in the middle of the countryside, and you have some fresh yellow pollen, but only on your right sleeve. This implies a recent gift of flowers. It is a gallant gesture, but surely a meeting with the fairer of our species would take place in London. Considering the promptness of your arrival, it must have been a bouquet of flowers you took to someone who lives in this area. I presume that you have family living nearby, and I would think only your mother would warrant such an attentive gesture. There is a fresh dab of fat at the corner of your mouth, as well as on the bit of handkerchief visible from your pocket. This is consistent with a recent meal of a big piece of steak. Who would make a policeman swallow such a substantial meal at this hour, and when a crime has been just committed? It could only be a mother thinking about the hard task awaiting her child.
Well, Holmes, when you explain it like that, it really seems quite simple. Good show. What about this Bromsby murder?
A unique case, as I've already noted, but any supposition would be premature until we consider Dr. Watson's report, as well as your own findings. Miss Lavinia has asked that the esteemed Dr. Watson and I give this case our full attention, though I doubt she is aware of all the implications of this case. Lestrade, you can find the victim inside, and I recommend calling upon his solicitor, Mr. Horace Fowlett. Mrs. Hudson is cooking a roast tomorrow at noon. Why don't you be our guest, and we can share our discoveries? What do you think? Watson and I must take our leave, as there's much to be done at Baker Street. Are you coming, Watson? Let us return to Baker Street. Everything is well noted. Watson, bravo. All of these elements will be a great help to us. As for myself, I have already told you everything that I know, and I can tell you nothing more until I receive answers to the messages I've sent with Wiggins. Now I must return to my experiments to test my theory regarding the substance I found at the scene of the murder. Meanwhile, I suggest you look through the books in the bookcase. Information that you find there might prove very useful in resolving this case.
I have to check 3 books on the shelves. Let's see. Here is information which could be really helpful in our investigation. These Chirapaki cigarettes come from Brazil, and they seem to contain narcotic substances. What might they be?
I need to analyze the evidence found at Sherringford Hall. A piece of white cloth, a small box, various powders, and finally the hair. Let's get to work. I need to analyze the evidence found at Sherringford Hall. A piece of white cloth, a small box, various powders, and finally the hair. Let's get to work. To analyze the nature of these stains, I must first soak the cloth in a solution of soap and water. To analyze the nature of these stains, now I shall place this cloth in the solvent. Now I shall... The stains are sticky, but not very oily. Let's examine it under the microscope. A very fine white cotton. Let's examine it under the microscope. A light feminine perfume. Let's examine it under the microscope. A man's hair. What would be the reaction if I heated this powder? Burnt gunpowder. Let's examine it under the microscope. Let's examine it under the mic. A box containing some white powder. Let's examine it under the microscope. These powders are similar. I can see it from the grains. What would be the reaction if I heated this powder? It has no effect. Let's mix some water with this powder. Let's mix a glue or pasty substance, like starch. It seems to me that we have gathered all of the key elements, Watson. However, before we retire, let's summarize our findings. We must have made an error, Watson. Let's check our answers. The questions should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation. It is simplicity itself, Watson. We have answered all the questions. My dear Lestrade, I congratulate you on the precise quality of your notes. It is true that you have missed everything of importance, but you have spared me the trouble of eliminating the trifles and pointed me in the right direction. I hear familiar steps on the stairs. Please be seated, Watson. You must be famished. Lestrade was kind enough to bring a copy of his notes, hoping it would be of assistance in this affair.
Indeed.
You can study them now and enjoy your meal. Please take your time, Watson, because bad digestion weakens our ability to reason.
Holmes, you will get no argument from me, as this dish is delicious.
We will go to Sherringford Hall with Lestrade when you are finished with your meal.
I must read the documents Holmes gave me. All this is very interesting. According to the evidence, it seems that the shooter was not in the ballroom or the corridor. Where was he then?
Are you finished, Watson? Shall we go? Let us return to Sherringford Hall.
Cabby!
Sirs, please, go right in. Please wait here, gentlemen. I will see if Miss Lavinia is receiving callers. She's in her room.
Well, Mr. Grimble, I didn't expect to see you here at this hour.
I am worried about Miss Lavinia, needless to say. I also thought I might learn something of interest about the investigation. This difficulty, if it persists, can do great harm to the business.
Sir Bromsby and Miss Lavinia had rather strained relations, it seems.
Well, Sir Bromsby and Miss Lavinia have never got on very well. Of late, their distance had grown due to the influence of several incidents.
What sort of incidents, precisely?
I do remember one instance in India, where Sir Bromsby attacked a friend of Miss Lavinia. He was our native cartman's son. It seems he spilled a jug full of water that was intended for Sir Bromsby to wash his face. Bromsby began cursing and thrashing the boy before his daughter's very eyes. Miss Lavinia took her friend's part and spoke to her father most rudely.
The devil, you say? What occurred next?
There is no one in the whole of India who would have dared address Sir Bromsby in such a manner. He stayed closeted in his office for the entire day. The next day he fired the carter. But despite these incidents, I am still sure that Miss Lavinia sincerely loved her father.
I'm sorry, but I have to go.
All right, as you wish. I shall remain here.
I have to leave you, sirs. I need to verify certain things.
The more we consider the facts of this affair, the more mysterious it becomes.
The important thing is to be precise and rigorous in your analysis. But at Scotland Yard, we know this well. Reminds me a bit of bad business I resolved. I believe it involved a theft of sticks from a polo team.
I have myself engaged in this sport but a few years ago.
Really?
Do you enjoy the sport of polo, Mr. Grimble? No. You cannot imagine the benefits of this sport. To achieve perfect form and union, man with horse.
A little like the waltz, eh?
Exactly. except that with this sport, mounting is at full speed, which complicates things singularly.
I don't follow you.
The team from Brixton, in my opinion, is the finest example of how polo should be played.
Perhaps they may well be, but what would you say about that last match of the Old Goats Rangers?
They were absolutely splendid. But what of the Brixton team?
Weren't they the cause of some ruckus about a matter of corruption?
May I come in?
Well, oh, take that!
Pardon me. It is already quite dead, you know.
Oh, you frighten me! I have a case of the nerves, you understand. I cannot find my bottles.
On the table?
No, not those! That is a poor vintage. The 2 bottles that the old crap, God rest his soul, ordered up from London for the party. Both were 18-year-old whiskey, perfect for the digestion and the heart's sorrows.
And who could have taken them?
I'm sure that the barman from Hertford stumbled them. Who else would know to take those particular bottles over the others?
Very good. I will leave you to your chicken then.
That's it.
To whom does this belong? Handbag of Lavinia Bromsby. I do not favour ransacking a lady's personal property, but I think she will be understanding. A programme for the London Opera. A programme for the London Opera. Close. No, I need more information.
I feel quite ready to answer your questions now, Mr. Holmes. Yesterday I was not in my right senses. I do want to encourage you, on the sound advice of Mr. Grimble. He explained to me that everything my father built during his entire life may collapse unless this gossip ceases and this matter is resolved. Do you agree, Mr. Holmes?
Whatever the truth is, I will reveal it. First of all, it is necessary for me to know your acts and your movements during this unfortunate event.
First I attended my appearance in the powder room. Then, as my father requested, I was standing quietly just inside the ballroom. I powdered my face one last time, while everyone, including myself, was watching my father. Suddenly, I heard this noise from behind me, and then I saw my father stagger and fall. Oh, my dear Lord. So I ran to his side and found that he was dead.
What was your relationship with your father?
We barely saw or even wrote to one another for 6 years. But the father that met me upon my return was not the man I remembered. Something in his eyes had changed. There was a wariness there and perhaps even some unexplained anxiety.
Forgive me, but it seems Lieutenant Harrington has made himself responsible for your care.
Oh, he has proved himself to be most gallant and considerate. I have no friends here, other than Mr. Grimble. Mr. Harrington neither requested nor expected any recognition for his kind interventions and was most attentive yesterday evening.
Thank you for answering my questions, miss.
Oh, it is me who should be thanking you.
As I mentioned to you before, if this investigation is to proceed properly, it'll be necessary to examine your father's personal documents. May we see his office? I suppose Sir Bromsby kept his papers in this drawer.
Watch out!
Good God!
It must be one of Fowlett's inventions. Sir Bromsby mentioned he had asked his lawyer to devise security measures to protect his private documentation. I remember now that Fowlett has a unique passion for mechanizations and automatons. I had no idea what kind of devices he had created.
Inspector Lestrade, I give you leave to tend to your appearance. I doubt you can return to the yard in such disrepair. I will now examine this room according to my methods. This bridge is quite impressive. It must have been a considerable undertaking. A remarkable portrait of the late Sir Bromsby. Ideal spot for a hiding place. obviously impossible. It is the pieces of the English edition of the Indian newspaper. A page from this book has been marked. Let's examine it. The young Lavinia, with her grandfather, no doubt. A Masonic symbol, no doubt.
Look here. This message just came for me. 2 days ago, Mr. Horace Fowlett was seen leaving for the North Country. The constable for the town of Flatton, where the solicitor resides, obtained this information from Fowlett's neighbours.
I have a bad feeling about this, Watson. What would you say to a short jaunt to Flatton to finish off our day?
No objection at all, Holmes.
Cabby!
Hello, gentlemen. Constable Fletcher here.
Good day, Constable. Can you help us?
Yes, Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard wired me about your arrival and instructed me to do as I would with the Inspector himself.
Would you be so good to take us to the neighbours who spoke of that night?
Come with me. Here we are.
Excellent.
Graham, this is a detective from London. He would like to hear what Mr. Fowlett's told you that night.
So Mr. Fowlett left?
Yes, he made his departure the day before yesterday, in the night. Not that this is the first time he's behaved in such a way. Anyway, he's not like others, and it didn't seem odd to see him leave at that hour, despite the heavy downpour.
And how is he, this Fowlett?
I'd call him an eccentric, you see. Not that I have anything bad to say about the man. His place is full of baubles with springs and mechanisms. There have been explosions. Yes, upon my word, explosions. But the next morning, there he'd be, always ready to wish me a good day.
Did you actually see him depart?
Well, a shutter on the barn had come loose and was beating about in the wind. I went out to set it straight in that moonless night. Then there he was. I saw him leaving. I shouted out, "Hey there, Mr. Fowlett." He waved and shouted something about leaving for the north for a fortnight.
Do you know where he went?
I couldn't quite make him out with all the wind and rain, but it seemed to me he left on some business matter. I think a fellow came to talk to him about something.
Interesting.
Well, it may be nothing, but if you think that the things he has in there might explode, you should better go and check.
You say he had a visitor?
Oh, I don't know. It seems to me I saw someone at his place at nightfall. But people often visited old Fowlett at odd times. Fellows who brought him pieces of I don't know what for his contraptions. There was also a friend who often came by. I think his name was Sir Glumsby or Flomsby, but it couldn't have been him because he's much taller than the chap I saw.
Do you know a way into Fowlett's house?
Here's the key to the door that he left with my wife. If you don't mind, I won't accompany you. I prefer to remain alive and in good health a good bit longer.
Good. I will go see what I can find. Wait for me here.
As you wish.
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
Constable Fletcher, I must ask that you allow me to enter alone. Do you agree?
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
And now, Watson, if you could be so kind to return to the station and speak with the station master.
My pleasure.
As soon as you're done, please return here. Keep close watch, for I may need your assistance inside. Wait for us.
All right.
Footsteps, size 10. word, I can't see anything. Ah, Fowler liked his jests. I need to be cautious. These items may contain traps, such as those found in Bromsby's office. It is a size 7. What an odd house. Look, what's this? These paintings are from the town of Epinal. There might be another drawing hidden among these pictures. Let's examine them carefully. Size 6. I can see a faint gleam. Ah, now I see better. The blood was cleansed with this mop. Closed. An automatic shoe brush. What an inventor this Fowlett is. Very interesting. There is Fowlett. He is not tall and appears to be quite obese. greasy substance. Very interesting. The pillow is missing. I shall select a card to find the logical sequence of what this automaton displays.
What card do you play?
I need to place the correct card in its hand.
card do you play? What card do you play? You won.
These books warrant a closer look. A pheasant and a serpent, the very symbols found on Sir Bromsby's speech. White flaky ash. Blood. Gin. The animals must enter Noah's Ark in the proper order. It is elementary. Someone tried to force this safe.
Holmes, Murray has just found a key in the garden. Holmes, Murray has just found a key in the garden.
It should be done quickly. Watson, over here!
My God, this man is dead, Holmes.
Brilliant deduction. I thought perhaps he was tired and decided to rest under a pile of potatoes, which in turn fractured his skull. Watson, you see everything, but fail to observe. I do not have time for trifles.
Oh, really, Holmes? You go too far.
Watson, tell Constable Fletcher to contact Lestrade with all haste. Now, I'd like to look around the house.
All right, Holmes.
I need something. Size 6. I recognize this handwriting. This handwriting is identical to the writing on Monsieur de la Mazardiere's visiting card.
The station master assured me he clearly saw Mr. Fowlett board the last train to London. But as Constable Fletcher can attest, the body in the cellar is without question that of Horace Fowlett.
Do you have the station master's statements there in your notes, Watson?
Of course. And be sure that...
It is neither the right place nor the right time to talk about this. We must hurry. I fear if we do not act promptly and with all haste, this second dead body will not be the last. Let us return to Baker Street. It seems to me that we have gathered all of the key elements, Watson. However, before we retire, let's summarize our findings. The questions should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation. It is simplicity itself, Watson. We have answered all the questions. We shall examine the evidence acquired yesterday. A wood's trinket, substance from Fowlett's washstand, and the gloves I found at Sherringford Hall. We shall examine the evidence acquired yesterday. A wood's trinket, substance from Fowlett's washstand, and the gloves I found at Sherringford Hall. Let's examine it under the microscope. Greasy substance. Very interesting. Let me study this more closely. A very fine white cotton. I recognize the style of this trinket. I could not wait for you much longer. We have but a brief moment to discuss your notes before joining the inspector at Sherringford Hall. Poor Lestrade must have spent a terrible night.
My word, Holmes, even you have admitted that this case is uniquely perplexing and difficult.
You are, of course, correct. I still have not arrived at a reasonable and definite explanation of these events. You see, Watson, our success lies entirely in our ability to sift through the vast amounts of facts and evidence we have at our disposal and discern which items are of true significance. We cannot allow ourselves to be blinded by the superficial logic of forced hypotheses. We also must not overlook the trifles, as by their very existence they can destroy the most solid of theories. Watson, consider this. All persons intimately involved with the preparations for the reception knew the precise position Sir Bromsby would occupy on that stage. We must remark that they had this knowledge for at least a week beforehand. Numerous experts have made much of the fact that the deadly shot was of unnatural precision. We have also learned that Horace Fowlett was a renowned expert on all types of mechanical devices and automatons. Then Fowlett is found dead a mere 2 days ago. These facts give rise to a serious line of inquiry.
I find your deductions quite probable, Holmes.
But how can we explain the guest list with notes? Any probable theory about these events must correspond in all ways, including the smallest of details. Watson, I have a general idea of what you discovered during your return to the Flatham railway station. Please correct me if I get any detail wrong. You learned from the station master that several minutes before the arrival of the last train to London, 2 men entered the station one after another. First, there appeared a tall man clothed as a worker. His hat was lowered to hide his eyes, his right hand bandaged. He took a place in the right corner near the platform. A few moments later, Horace Fowlett came in and sat down on a bench. He spoke briefly with the station master and by all appearances seemed to be freezing. I can add that you have probably learned that the station master began to work in Flatham only 4 years ago. The rest you can tell yourself.
Really, Holmes, you were right concerning the information I received from the station master. When I entered the railway station, if you could, I need some information regarding the last scheduled train to the north, specifically the one that ran 2 days ago.
You're one of those fellows from London working with Fletcher, aren't you? Wait a second, let's see, 2 days ago, or rather 2 nights. That was the night when Mr. Fowler was here.
Did you see him?
As clearly as I see you now. But he didn't seem well, he was all muffled up, and every time he opened his mouth it was to cough. The people from the village say that he's an odd one who's always amusing himself with gewgaws and puppets.
Do you see him often?
No, I don't know him that well, because he didn't travel very often. I didn't think it was a good opportunity to make his acquaintance, but he wasn't able to say more than a few words without suffering a sudden coughing fit. It seemed he was travelling to the north. However, I cannot say with any certainty that he arrived there.
Was there anyone else on the platform?
Yes, there was a fellow. I could see his face beneath his cap. For a second I thought he had a revolver in his pocket, but then I noticed that it was merely his hand. It was all done up with a large bandage, due to some wound, I suppose.
Where was he, exactly?
He stood in that corner over there, and Mr. Fowler arrived a bit later. I heard the sound of his coughing for about 5 minutes after that. When the train arrived, they boarded the same carriage.
And where might I find this train carriage?
Why, right here. They always use the same carriages when they put together the night trains.
Aha, and here it is. This is most advantageous.
If it would be a help, I can hold the train for 1 or 2 minutes at the station, so you might have a look inside.
Thank you very much. Well, I must investigate these matters.
Until later, sir.
It could be evidence. There is nothing of interest here. Another white feather? Is someone travelling with chickens? Someone has forgotten their cap, and I believe that hairs on it are red. A Chirapaki cigarette, the same as Holmes found at Sherlock Hall.
A red hair. This is splendid, Watson.
I did not dare to disturb your thoughts on our way back to London last night. I had quite forgotten about this hat.
What can we do for you today, Mr. Holmes?
Come near, Wiggins. Mind you look sharp. There'll be an extra guinea for the lad that finds him.
Goodbye.
We must leave now, Watson. Let us return to Sherlock Hall.
All right, everyone. We are a little over 2.5 hours into this, I believe, and this is where we are going to call it for this installment. The next installment will be posted along with this one, so they will come out at the same time. Just move right along to the next installment if you have enjoyed this content. If you have enjoyed this content but you are not already subscribed or you haven't hit the notification bell, consider doing those things. It'll let you know when I next upload either a new installment for this or a new installment of a new Sherlock Holmes game. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And see you next time. Bye, everyone.